Good evening, friends. Let's talk about the pain of being hurt by someone who knew exactly what they were doing. I'm not talking about accidents or misunderstandings, but those moments when someone, fully aware of their actions, chose to damage you. They saw your strength, your vulnerability, and instead of nurturing it, they decided to break it. You see, there's a certain kind of betrayal that stings deeper, a wound that runs further into your soul when the damage is deliberate. The intent behind the harm leaves a scar that feels impossible to heal because it wasn't a mistake, it was a choice. But what I want to tell you today is this: the fact that they tried to tear you down does not define your worth. Their actions, their intentions, none of that is a reflection of who you are. It's a reflection of them. They may have tried to break you, but you are still standing, breathing, and here today because your spirit is resilient. Sometimes the damage is so deep that you wonder how you'll ever recover. But remember, they underestimated your strength. They thought their actions would finish you. But you are stronger than they imagined. You are still here. Now, healing is not easy. It requires patience, grace, and above all, the understanding that what was done to you doesn't diminish your value. Healing requires you to reclaim your power, to decide that no one, no matter how intentional their cruelty, gets to determine the course of your life. So I ask you to release the grip their actions have had on your spirit. Let go of the shame, the anger, and the hurt. You deserve to live free of the weight they tried to place on you. You deserve peace. Yes, they damaged you intentionally. But what they didn't know is that your light, your heart, and your soul were built to endure, to heal, and to thrive. Your strength, not their cruelty, is the legacy you carry forward. When someone sets out to hurt you intentionally, it cuts deeper than most of us are prepared for. It's a different kind of pain. You see, there's a certain cruelty in knowing that another person, with full awareness and thought, made the choice to cause you harm. Not by accident, not in a moment of confusion, but with purpose. They saw your vulnerability, they saw your open heart, and instead of protecting that, they made the conscious decision to tear it down. Let's be clear, this isn't the kind of hurt that comes from a misunderstanding or from someone who didn't realize the weight of their words or actions. This is calculated, it's premeditated. It's someone seeing you as a target, seeing your light, your strength, your love, and deciding that they need to dim that glow. Maybe it's because they feel threatened. Maybe it's because they carry their own pain, and in some twisted way they believe hurting you will ease theirs. Or maybe they're just not capable of kindness in that moment. But whatever their reason, they knew exactly what they were doing. And that's the part that stings the most: the awareness, the intention. It wasn't random, it was deliberate. And that kind of hurt stays with you. It makes you question things. It makes you wonder what you did to deserve that level of betrayal. You replay the moments trying to understand how someone could choose to hurt you like that, how they could look into your eyes and still follow through. But I'm here to tell you that their decision to hurt you was never about you. It was never about your worth, your goodness, or your value. It was always about them. People who are whole, people who are at peace with themselves, don't intentionally cause harm. People who are grounded in love don't set out to break others. So when they made that choice to hurt you, what they really revealed was their own brokenness, their own fear, their own inability to see the beauty and strength in someone else without wanting to destroy it. That's why deliberate harm hits so hard. It forces us to confront the reality that sometimes the hurt we experience is planned. But here's what I want you to remember: even though their actions were deliberate, even though they knew exactly what they were doing, they can never take away your power to rise. They can never strip you of your ability to heal, to grow, and to become stronger than before. Their intentions don't define you, your response does. When you experience betrayal, especially the kind that's intentional, it feels like the very ground beneath your feet has been pulled away. Betrayal isn't just an act of hurting someone, it's an act of breaking trust, of shattering something that once felt safe and solid. You let someone in, you trusted them with parts of yourself that you don't just give to anyone, and they took that trust, that openness, and threw it away. But when betrayal is deliberate, the hurt sinks even deeper. You see, betrayal hits on two levels. First, there's the action itself, whatever it is they did to cause you pain. But then there's the knowledge that they made a conscious choice to betray you. That's the deeper cut. It wasn't a spur-of-the-moment decision. It wasn't a slip-up. It was deliberate. They saw the bond you had, the trust you placed in them, and they still decided to turn their back on it. That realization can be devastating because it forces you to question everything. How could they do that? How long had they been planning it? How could someone who said they cared about you be capable of such a calculated betrayal? The deepest part of the wound comes from the fact that you believed in them. You believed that they were on your side, that they had your back, that the connection you shared was something real. And when they choose to betray you, it feels like they've torn apart not just the relationship, but a piece of your heart. It's not just the betrayal itself, though. It's the aftershocks, the questioning, the doubting of your own judgment. You start to wonder if you missed the signs, if you should have seen it coming. You replay conversations, moments, trying to figure out how someone you trusted so much could hurt you so deeply. That's the thing about betrayal. It leaves you not only hurt, but shaken, unsure of who or what to trust again. But what I need you to know is this: their betrayal says nothing about who you are. It doesn't diminish your worth, your goodness, or your ability to trust again. It reveals something about them, their fear, their insecurity, their inability to honor the connection they had with you. Betrayal, especially when it's intentional, is a reflection of their own internal battles, not of your value as a person. Yes, the betrayal runs deep. It shakes your sense of stability, makes you question everything, but at your core, you are still whole. Their actions may have caused pain, but they can never take away your strength, your capacity to love, your ability to rise above. You may be hurt, but you are not broken. The trust they shattered can be rebuilt, first with yourself and eventually with others who truly deserve it. So while the betrayal is deep, it's not the end of your story. It's a chapter, yes, but it's not the final word. You have the power to heal, to grow, and to rise stronger than before. The betrayal may have left scars, but those scars will become the proof of your resilience, of the strength it took to overcome. Let me tell you something about worth and identity. When you go through moments where someone tries to tear you down, when they attack you, hurt you, or betray you, it can feel like they're shaking the very foundation of who you are. You start questioning yourself, doubting your value. It's a natural reaction. But I need you to hear this: no one, and I mean no one, has the power to determine your worth but you. Too often, we let other people's actions make us feel like we're not enough. We take the way they treat us and let it seep into how we see ourselves. When someone betrays you or hurts you, it's easy to think, what did I do wrong? Why wasn't I good enough? Why didn't they value me? But that's the lie. Their actions don't reflect your worth, they reflect their own inability to recognize it. Your value was never in question. You see, your worth isn't up for debate. It's not something that fluctuates based on how others see you, what they say about you, or how they treat you. Your worth is constant. It's rooted in who you are at your core, the person you've always been, long before anyone tried to make you feel less than. And when someone tries to undermine that, it's not because you're lacking. It's because they're unable to appreciate the light you carry. Identity is another thing that can feel fragile when we face these challenges. We sometimes let the roles we play, whether it's in relationships, at work, or in our community, define who we are. And when those roles are shaken, when someone betrays us or a relationship falls apart, it can feel like we're losing ourselves. But here's the truth: your identity isn't tied to anyone else's opinion of you. It's not tied to the roles you play in their lives. It's something that comes from deep within, from your own journey, your own heart, your own sense of purpose. When people try to hurt you or diminish you, it's often because they don't understand their own identity. They haven't found their own worth, so they try to chip away at yours, but you have to hold firm. You have to remember that your value isn't conditional on how others treat you. Their inability to see your worth doesn't make you any less worthy. You are whole. You are enough, just as you are. And your identity, it's stronger than any storm that comes your way. It's built on years of resilience, strength, and the lessons you've learned along the way. No one can take that from you. When you find yourself questioning your worth because of how someone else has treated you, remind yourself that their actions don't define you. Your worth is not determined by external circumstances. It's in how you show up for yourself, how you love, how you continue to rise no matter what comes your way. You are worthy of love, of respect, of joy simply because you exist. Your identity is unshakable and no one, no matter how hard they try, can change that. Hold on to that truth because that's where your power lies. In knowing that your worth and identity are yours, not something anyone else can control or take away. When someone hurts you, when they betray you or try to bring you down, it's so easy to internalize that pain and make it about yourself. You ask, what did I do wrong? What's wrong with me? Why wasn't I good enough for them to treat me with kindness, respect, and care? But here's the truth, their actions are a reflection of them, not you. People who are at peace with themselves don't go around hurting others. People who are secure, who are whole, don't feel the need to tear someone else apart. When someone chooses to treat you poorly, to betray your trust, or to try to make you feel small, that behavior is coming from a place inside them. It's about their fears, their insecurities, their struggles. It's about their inability to sit with their own pain, so they project it onto others. It has nothing to do with your worth, your value, or who you are as a person. You see, people who harm others often do so because they can't deal with the mirror that's being held up to them. When they see your light, your kindness, your strength, it reflects back the parts of themselves they don't want to face. They see what they're lacking, and instead of working on themselves, they try to dim your light so they don't have to feel so uncomfortable. It's like they want to level the playing field, but in the worst possible way, by bringing you down instead of lifting themselves up. And it can feel personal, especially when it's someone you trusted, someone you let into your life. But their behavior isn't about you. It's about their inability to rise to the level of compassion, love, and decency that you deserve. Their actions show you where they are on their own journey, and it's a reflection of their pain, not your value. Think about it, people who are happy with themselves, who have done the work to heal their own wounds, don't need to harm others. They don't feel threatened by someone else's joy or success. They don't feel the need to make someone else feel small. Instead, they uplift, they support, they love freely because they've learned to love themselves. So when someone lashes out, when they deliberately hurt you, know that what they're really doing is showing you the limits of their own healing, their own capacity to love and be loved. It's not easy to separate their actions from your feelings, I know. When someone hurts you, the pain is real, and it's easy to turn inward and start questioning yourself. But the truth is, their cruelty is a reflection of their own struggles. Maybe they haven't learned how to communicate in a healthy way. Maybe they're afraid of being vulnerable. Maybe they're carrying wounds that have nothing to do with you but are spilling out into your life. Whatever the reason, their actions say more about their journey than they ever will about yours. Your worth doesn't depend on how someone else treats you, especially when that treatment is coming from a place of fear, jealousy, or unresolved pain. Their inability to see your value doesn't make you less valuable. Their betrayal doesn't make you less deserving of love. Their need to tear you down doesn't take away from the beauty of who you are. So when someone tries to hurt you, remember this, they're showing you a reflection of themselves, not a reflection of you. You are still whole, still worthy, still filled with light. Their darkness cannot dim that. You don't need to carry their pain or take responsibility for their actions. You don't need to internalize their behavior as a statement about your value. You are enough just as you are, and nothing they do can change that. Let their actions be a lesson not about who you are, but about who they are. And let it free you from carrying the weight of their brokenness, because at the end of the day, their behavior is their reflection, not yours. You remain whole, strong, and capable of moving forward with or without them. There is something extraordinary about the human spirit, something that often only reveals itself when we are pushed to the edge, when life or people try to break us down. And here's the thing about resilience, it's not about never falling, never feeling pain, or never being hurt. It's about what happens after that. It's about the decision you make somewhere deep inside that says, I will not be defeated by this. You see, life will throw things at you that test you, things that feel unbearable. People will hurt you, betray you, break your trust in ways that seem irreparable. But even in those moments of deep pain, there is something inside you, something powerful, that refuses to let go. It's the spirit, it's the essence of who you are, and it's resilient beyond anything you can imagine. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back, it's about growing through the hardship. It's about acknowledging the pain, feeling it, letting it wash over you, and then standing up anyway. It's about looking at the broken pieces of your heart, your trust, your sense of self, and saying, I will rebuild because you can. Because no matter how deep the hurt, no matter how hard the fall, the spirit has the capacity to heal. And not just to heal, but to emerge stronger, wiser, more compassionate. Think about all the times you faced something that felt like it would break you. Maybe you cried, maybe you questioned everything, maybe you even thought you couldn't go on. But here you are, you made it through. That's the resilience of your spirit. It doesn't matter how long it took or how many times you stumbled along the way, the fact that you are still standing is a testament to your strength. Resilience isn't always loud or visible. It's often quiet. It's in the small, private moments when you decide to keep going, even when no one is watching. It's in the way you pick yourself up each day and face the world, even when your heart is heavy. It's in the way you refuse to let the actions of others define you, refuse to let their attempts to tear you down succeed. And the beautiful thing about resilience is that it builds on itself. Every time you rise after being knocked down, every time you heal from a hurt that felt unbearable, your spirit grows stronger. You learn that no matter what life throws at you, you have the power to endure, to overcome, and to thrive. That's what resilience is. It's the refusal to give up on yourself, no matter how hard it gets. There are people who will try to break you, whether out of their own pain or their own insecurities. They'll think they've done enough damage to leave you broken. But what they don't know, what they could never anticipate, is the strength of your spirit. Because the human spirit is not something that can be easily destroyed. It bends, but it doesn't break. It might be bruised, but it heals. And with every scar, it grows stronger, more beautiful, more capable of withstanding whatever comes next. Resilience doesn't mean you won't feel pain. It doesn't mean you won't have moments of doubt, fear, or sorrow. It means that despite those moments, you continue to believe in yourself. You continue to believe that there is a future beyond the hurt. And there is. Every time you've overcome something difficult, you've proven to yourself that you are capable of surviving even the hardest of storms. And that survival isn't just about getting through, it's about thriving in ways you didn't even think were possible. Your spirit is resilient. It has a memory of survival, of growth, of rising from the ashes. So when life tests you, when people try to tear you down, remember that you've already overcome so much. There's a strength inside you that no one else can touch, a light that cannot be dimmed by their actions. You have the power to heal, to rebuild, and to rise again. That's the resilience of the spirit. It's unbreakable. It's unwavering. And it's yours. It's in every breath you take, every step you make, every decision to keep moving forward. So trust it. Trust that no matter what happens, no matter how hard life tries to knock you down, your spirit will always rise, because that's who you are: strong, resilient, and unstoppable. Healing is a process, and it's not a straight line. It's not something you rush through, and it's not something you can control with a timeline. Healing has its own rhythm, its own ebb and flow. And it requires patience, grace, and a deep sense of compassion for yourself. It's one of the hardest things to do, to allow yourself the time and space to heal, especially when the pain feels so heavy, so overwhelming, that all you want is for it to be over. But real healing, it doesn't happen overnight. It happens gradually, in moments, in pieces, and sometimes when you least expect it. When we're hurt, whether by life or by the actions of others, there's a natural desire to just move on, to get past the pain as quickly as possible. We think if we can just distract ourselves, if we can just keep going, maybe the hurt will disappear. But the truth is, healing doesn't work that way. You can't rush it, you can't force it, and you can't skip over the hard parts. The only way to heal is to go through it. Healing is about feeling what you need to feel, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it feels unbearable. It's about sitting with your emotions, the sadness, the anger, the disappointment, and giving yourself permission to experience them fully. So often we want to avoid the pain, numb it, or push it down. But true healing comes when we acknowledge the hurt, when we allow ourselves to grieve what's been lost, when we let ourselves process the depth of our wounds. And here's the thing about healing, it's not linear. There will be days when you feel like you're finally moving forward, and then something triggers you and it feels like you've taken 5 steps back. That's okay, that's part of the process. Healing isn't about getting it right every day, it's about giving yourself grace when the pain resurfaces, when the memories come flooding back, and when it feels like you're starting all over again. Because you're not. Every moment of pain you face is a step closer to healing. Every time you allow yourself to feel, to cry, to be vulnerable, you're moving forward, even if it doesn't feel like it in the moment. Healing also requires forgiveness, not just of others, but of yourself. You have to forgive yourself for the times you think you should have known better, for the ways you might have blamed yourself for the hurt. And you have to forgive others, not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting what happened or excusing the hurt. It means choosing not to carry the weight of it with you any longer. It's about freeing yourself from the bitterness and the anger that can keep you stuck in a cycle of pain. Another important part of healing is understanding that you don't have to do it alone. Healing happens in connection with yourself and with others. It's okay to lean on the people who love you, to ask for support when you need it, to be vulnerable with those who have earned your trust. Sometimes the greatest act of strength is allowing yourself to be held, to be comforted, and to be reminded that you don't have to carry your burdens by yourself. And through it all, healing requires patience. It requires trust in the process, even when it feels slow, even when you feel like you're not making progress. Healing is happening even in the quiet moments, even in the days that feel stagnant. It's happening in the small choices you make to get up, to show up, to care for yourself in ways that might feel insignificant but are actually monumental. Healing is in the little victories, the days when you laugh again, when you feel a spark of joy, when you realize that the weight of the pain isn't as heavy as it used to be. Ultimately, healing is about reclaiming your power. It's about deciding that no one and nothing, not the person who hurt you, not the situation that broke you, gets to dictate the rest of your story. Healing is your way of saying, I will not let this define me. I will rise from this. And you will. It may take time. It may take more patience than you ever thought possible. But each day, with each breath, you are healing. So be gentle with yourself. Trust that the process, no matter how long it takes, is working in your favor. And know that on the other side of this pain is a version of you that is stronger, wiser, and more whole than ever before. Healing is a journey, and while it may not be easy, it is one of the most profound acts of self-love and resilience you will ever undertake. Releasing negative emotions is one of the most powerful things you can do for yourself, but it's also one of the hardest. We often hold on to pain, anger, resentment, and disappointment because, in a strange way, they feel familiar. They feel like protection. We tell ourselves that holding on to that anger keeps us safe, that the bitterness shields us from ever being hurt again. But the truth is, those negative emotions aren't protecting us, they're weighing us down. They're keeping us stuck in a place where we can't fully heal, where we can't move forward, where we can't open ourselves to joy. Letting go of negative emotions doesn't mean denying that you've been hurt. It doesn't mean pretending that everything is okay or that the pain didn't matter. No, those emotions are valid. You have every right to feel them. But here's what you need to understand: you don't have to carry them forever. The pain, the anger, the resentment, they serve their purpose. They told you something was wrong. They let you know that boundaries were crossed. that you were mistreated. But once they've served their purpose, it's time to release them. Because holding on to them only continues the hurt. Think about it: when you cling to those negative emotions, you're giving power to the very thing or person that caused you pain. You're allowing them to occupy space in your heart, in your mind, in your spirit. And they don't deserve that power. You deserve peace. You deserve freedom from that weight. You deserve to move through the world without the burden of someone else's actions hanging over you. Releasing negative emotions is not about excusing the behavior that caused you pain. It's not about saying what happened was okay. It's about deciding that you will no longer let that pain control your life. It's about choosing your well-being over the hurt. It's about reclaiming your power and deciding that you are worthy of peace, joy, and love. And sometimes it's not the big emotions that are hardest to let go of. It's the small ones that linger, that we push down, that we try to ignore. But those small resentments, those unspoken hurts, they build up over time, and they can be just as damaging as the big ones. The process of releasing these emotions begins with acknowledgement. You can't let go of what you haven't fully faced. So allow yourself to feel the anger, the pain, the sadness. Let it rise to the surface. Cry if you need to, scream if that's what your spirit is calling for. Release it in whatever way feels true to you. But don't stay there. Don't let those emotions take root. Acknowledge them, feel them, and then let them go. One of the hardest parts of releasing negative emotions is forgiveness, and not just forgiving others, but forgiving yourself. Forgiving yourself for the times you stayed too long in a situation that was hurting you. Forgiving yourself for the ways you may have let anger and bitterness take hold. But forgiveness is not weakness, it's strength. It's saying, I refuse to let this pain control me anymore. It's a gift you give yourself because you deserve to be free. And here's the thing: releasing negative emotions doesn't happen all at once. It's a process. Some days you'll feel like you've let go of the anger, and then something will trigger you and it'll come rushing back. That's okay. Healing isn't linear. But each time you choose to release those emotions, even if they come back, you're making progress. Each time you decide not to let bitterness take over, you're reclaiming a little more of your peace. Releasing negative emotions also means creating space for new experiences, new joys, new love to enter your life. When you hold on to negativity, you're closing off that space. You're blocking the blessings that are trying to find you. But when you release those emotions, you're making room for something better. You're making room for healing, for growth, for transformation. So ask yourself, what are you holding on to that's no longer serving you? What pain are you still carrying that's keeping you from living the life you deserve? And then, as hard as it might be, make the choice to release it. Not because it wasn't important, not because it didn't matter, but because you matter more. Your peace, your happiness, your future matter more. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean that you erase what happened. It means you no longer allow it to define you. It means you choose to move forward, lighter, freer, and open to the beauty that life still has in store for you. And in that release, you will find your power. You will find your peace. You will find your freedom. And that is where true healing begins. Inner strength is something we all have, whether we realize it or not. It's that quiet power deep within you, the force that keeps you going even when everything around you feels like it's falling apart. It's the part of you that refuses to give up. Even when you're exhausted, even when the odds are stacked against you. Inner strength isn't about being tough all the time or pretending that nothing can hurt you. It's about knowing that no matter what comes your way, you have the resilience and the courage to rise again. You see, inner strength shows itself in the moments when you think you've reached your breaking point. When life feels overwhelming, when you've been hurt, when you're faced with challenges that seem insurmountable, that's when your inner strength steps in. It's that voice inside that says, I can do this, even when you don't fully believe it yet. It's the part of you that keeps moving forward, even when you feel like standing still. And the beauty of inner strength is that it doesn't need to shout to be powerful. Often it's found in the quiet moments, in the stillness, in the decision to keep going when no one else is watching. So often we look outside of ourselves for strength. We think it comes from other people, from circumstances, from success, or from things we can see and touch. But true strength, it's always been inside you. It's not about what happens to you, but about how you respond. It's not about never feeling pain. It's about knowing that you have the capacity to heal from it. That's where your strength lies. Inner strength is also about trusting yourself, trusting the process, trusting that no matter how hard things get, you have everything within you to navigate through it. It's about knowing that even in your darkest moments, even when you're filled with doubt, fear, or insecurity, there's a part of you that's unshakable. There's a part of you that knows you will make it through. And that part of you, that's your inner strength. It's important to remember that inner strength doesn't mean you won't have weak moments. You will. We all do. There will be times when you cry, when you feel lost, when you question everything. But inner strength isn't about not feeling those things. It's about how you come back from them. It's about how you allow yourself to feel the full range of your emotions and still stand tall. It's about acknowledging that you're human, that you hurt, that you struggle, but that you don't let those moments define you. And sometimes inner strength is found in asking for help. It takes real courage to say, I can't do this alone. Strength doesn't always look like independence or going it alone. Sometimes it's about leaning on the people who love you, about letting others support you when you need it most. There's no shame in that. In fact, it takes more strength to be vulnerable than to pretend you have it all together. Inner strength is also about the decisions you make each day, the small, quiet choices that lead to big change over time. It's deciding to get out of bed when you'd rather pull the covers over your head. It's showing up for yourself when it feels like the world has let you down. It's the way you choose to respond to life's challenges with grace, with determination, with an unwavering belief that you can handle whatever comes your way. And here's the thing, inner strength grows the more you use it. Every time you face a challenge and come out the other side, you're building your strength. Every time you choose to rise after a fall, you're fortifying that power within you. Inner strength doesn't mean you never fall. It means that every time you do, you rise a little stronger, a little wiser, a little more sure of who you are. There will be moments in life when you doubt your strength, when you feel like you've been knocked down one too many times, and you wonder if you have it in you to keep going. But I promise you, it's in those very moments that your inner strength is being revealed. It's there, even when you can't feel it. It's working, even when you don't see it. Because the truth is, you are far stronger than you know. And life will keep reminding you of that over and over again. So trust in your inner strength. Trust that no matter what life throws at you, you have the power to rise. Trust that you've been through tough times before, and you made it through. This time will be no different. Know that inside you is a reservoir of strength, resilience, and courage that will carry you through even the hardest of times. You are stronger than you think, braver than you know, and more powerful than you've ever imagined. That's the truth of your inner strength. Choosing peace over pain is one of the most transformative decisions you can make in your life. It's not about pretending the pain doesn't exist or about dismissing the very real hurt you've experienced. It's about making a conscious decision to not let that pain control you, to not let it define who you are or how you move forward. Pain is inevitable. It's part of the human experience, but suffering, that's optional. And choosing peace, even in the midst of pain, is an act of profound strength and self-love. When life hurts us, when people betray us or circumstances break our hearts, it's natural to hold on to that pain. We carry it with us like armor, believing that holding on to it will protect us from being hurt again. But what we don't realize is that this pain, when held on to too tightly, becomes a prison. It locks us into a cycle of bitterness, resentment, and sorrow. It keeps us stuck in the past, unable to fully embrace the beauty and possibility of the present moment. Peace, on the other hand, is freedom. It's not about forgetting what happened or pretending it didn't matter. It's about saying, I will not let this pain steal my joy any longer. It's about choosing to release the grip that hurt has on you and allowing yourself to step into a space where you can breathe again, where you can live fully again. Choosing peace means understanding that you deserve more than to be weighed down by the pain of yesterday. You deserve to be free, to feel light, to experience joy, love, and contentment regardless of what's happened to you. There is a deep, transformative power in choosing peace over pain. It requires forgiveness not just of others, but of yourself. It's easy to get caught up in the what ifs, to wonder if things could have been different, if you could have avoided the hurt. But holding on to that regret only feeds the pain. Forgiving yourself for the mistakes, the choices you wish you could have changed, is essential to finding peace. And forgiving others. That's not about excusing their actions or allowing them back into your life. Forgiveness is about releasing the hold that their actions have on you. It's about freeing yourself from the bitterness that keeps you tethered to the pain. Choosing peace is also about acceptance. It's about accepting that you can't change the past no matter how much you wish you could. You can't go back and rewrite what's happened, but what you can do is choose how you move forward. You can choose to carry the lessons without carrying the weight of the pain. You can choose to let the experience make you wiser, stronger, more compassionate, but not bitter, not broken. And here's the thing, peace isn't something that just happens to you. It's something you cultivate, something you choose again and again, even on the hardest days. It's a practice. It's in the way you respond to the little things that could pull you back into anger or resentment. It's in the way you decide to show up for yourself every day, choosing to nurture your heart, your mind, and your spirit with things that bring you joy, calm, and love. Peace is about protecting your energy, setting boundaries, and refusing to let the actions or words of others disturb your inner sanctuary. It's about knowing that no matter what happens around you, you have control over what happens within you. It's about choosing moment by moment to release what no longer serves you and to invite in the things that do: love, joy, gratitude, and grace. And yes, there will be days when the pain comes back, when you feel like peace is far out of reach. That's okay. Peace isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about recognizing when the pain has resurfaced and making the decision again to let it go. It's about giving yourself grace in those moments when it feels hard to choose peace and trusting that with time and practice, it will become easier. The more you choose peace, the more natural it becomes. It's like a muscle that grows stronger with use. Ultimately, choosing peace over pain is about honoring yourself. It's about deciding that your well-being, your happiness, your future are worth more than holding on to the hurt. It's about realizing that peace isn't something anyone else can give you. It's something you create within yourself. And when you choose peace, you open the door to all the beauty and possibility that life has to offer. You give yourself permission to heal, to grow, and to experience life in all its fullness. Peace is your birthright. It's not something you have to earn, it's something you deserve simply because you exist. So no matter what pain you've carried, no matter what has hurt you, know that peace is always available to you. It's a choice, a powerful, life-affirming choice. And when you choose peace, you choose yourself. You choose your freedom, your happiness, your wholeness. You choose to live fully and completely in the present, unburdened by the weight of the past. And that, my friend, is one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself. Thriving beyond damage is a profound and beautiful journey that takes place in the heart and soul of each of us. It's about moving through life's inevitable storms and emerging not just intact, but flourishing. Damage can come in many forms: emotional scars, physical wounds, or even the invisible burdens we carry from our past experiences. But the incredible truth is that while damage may leave marks, it does not define your worth or your potential. You have the power to rise, to reclaim your narrative, and to thrive beyond anything that has ever tried to hold you back. When we face damage, whether through trauma, loss, or heartbreak, it's easy to feel like we're broken beyond repair. We may think that the pain we've experienced will forever be a shadow over our lives. But here's the truth: you are not defined by your damage. What defines you is how you choose to respond to it. You can choose to see damage as a limitation, or you can choose to see it as a catalyst for growth. The difference lies in your perspective and the choices you make moving forward. The journey to thriving beyond damage begins with self-compassion. It's so important to recognize that experiencing pain or trauma doesn't make you weak, it makes you human. You deserve to treat yourself with kindness as you navigate through the hurt. Acknowledge what you've been through, honor your feelings, and give yourself permission to grieve. It's through this process of acceptance that you can begin to heal. Healing doesn't mean forgetting what happened, it means integrating those experiences into your life in a way that empowers you rather than diminishes you. Once you've taken that step toward acceptance, it's about harnessing the lessons that damage can teach. Every challenge, every heartbreak carries with it a lesson waiting to be uncovered. What have you learned about yourself through your struggles? What strength have you discovered that you didn't know existed? Sometimes we find that our deepest wounds are the soil from which our greatest strengths grow. They can teach us resilience, empathy, and a deeper understanding of our own humanity. And let's talk about resilience for a moment. Resilience isn't just about bouncing back, it's about growing and evolving through the experience. It's about saying, I refuse to let this define me. I will rise from this, and I will do so stronger than before. When you embrace your resilience, you cultivate a spirit that is unyielding, a spirit that can withstand the fiercest storms and still shine brightly. Resilience transforms damage into a stepping stone, propelling you toward a future where you can thrive. As you begin to thrive beyond damage, it's essential to surround yourself with positivity. Seek out the people who uplift you, who believe in your potential, and who celebrate your journey. Toxic relationships or environments that drain your energy can hold you back from flourishing. Choose to be in spaces that encourage growth, creativity, and joy. When you align yourself with positivity, you create a fertile ground for your spirit to blossom. And remember, thriving is not a destination, it's a continuous journey. It's about setting intentions and taking deliberate steps toward the life you envision for yourself. What does thriving look like for you? Is it pursuing a passion? Building fulfilling relationships? Taking risks that scare you? Whatever it may be, allow yourself to dream big. Your past damage does not limit your potential. In fact, it can fuel your determination to create the life you desire. It's also important to give yourself permission to change. Sometimes we feel like we must stay the same because that's who we've always been, but growth requires change. It's okay to let go of old identities that no longer serve you. As you shed the weight of past pain, you might discover new facets of yourself that you never knew existed. Embrace that evolution. Celebrate it. You have every right to redefine yourself and to explore new paths, new interests, and new ways of being. The beauty of thriving beyond damage is that it inspires others. When you choose to rise, you create a ripple effect in the world around you. Your journey can be a beacon of hope for someone else who is struggling, showing them that it is possible to transcend pain and to cultivate a life full of joy, love, and purpose. Your story can be a testament to the power of the human spirit, a reminder that while we may be damaged, we can also be magnificent. Lastly, never underestimate the power of self-reflection. Take time to check in with yourself. How are you feeling? What do you need? What do you need? What are you grateful for? Self-reflection helps you stay connected to your inner self, allowing you to course correct when needed. It keeps you grounded and mindful of your journey, reminding you of how far you've come and the endless possibilities ahead. In conclusion, thriving beyond damage is not just about overcoming challenges, it's about embracing the fullness of life. It's about honoring your journey, celebrating your resilience, and allowing yourself to bloom in ways you never thought possible. You are not just a survivor, you are a thriver. Your story is one of hope, strength, and unyielding spirit. So rise up, embrace your journey, and let your light shine bright, for you have the power to thrive beyond damage and to create a life that is extraordinary.